on national defense, intelligence, security. Of course, too, in the media a couple of days ago, there is this quote unquote unionization of private security. As chairperson, he will be offering his position on it, especially as a president who speaks from an informed security background. He will be sharing his perspective. So, Senator,
Yeah.
the media is available.
Thank you, Arjo. I'm good afternoon to all. So, like the CEO said, we had a lengthy conversation. The Committee on Security, that is Defense Intelligence, and Veteran Affairs, had a holistic meeting with the officer in charge at the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency. We wanted to know, since the media were giving them, what have they done at the agency, what the challenges are, what support they will need, and some of the reform that intended to carry us so that we wouldn't have the situation we had in the past for the past two administrations. And they had a lengthy discussion with us. They did tell us some of their concerns and constraints. They are overstaffed. They have the situation of what we call the action agents. They have over 1,000 action agents who have been paid. Somebody has been working for over 10 years. And we see that as a threat. If somebody is working for 10 years, is an action agent who hasn't been paid, but yet is still working, what comes to our mind is how have they been surviving? And we think that these are some of the reasons why the drug is being cycled. And we told them clearly that that needs to be taken care of. They have agreed on that. They have complained about logistics. And from the budget, we know that government has always making some availability based on our own engagement with the Ministry of Finance, that they're supposed to be getting some 15 vehicles for the enhancement of operations. We also talk about the demotivation of the agents considering salary. We have asked them to give us a comprehensive assessment of the employees, their level of education, their experience, and propose a level of salary that we will be working with them to take over to the Ministry of Finance to see whether we can tap up their salary. Because it's key that somebody who is fighting drugs should be motivated to some extent if they support. But one thing I want to make clear here, as the Committee on Security, that responsible confirmation of security actors or security chiefs that will be coming here, that will be appointed by the executive. This time around, the committee have decided and have been resolute that will be very keen on people that will be nominated to manage the drugs enforcement agency. It's not good for the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency. It has to be professional people. We will make sure that that confirmation will speak to honesty. We'll make sure that those that will be nominated will go through the formality and they will have the pedigree, necessary abilities, and the technical skills and the education to manage the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency. I thought to bring that to the public. We'll be very resolute about that as a committee. So basically, it was a good interactions. We have asked them to go and continue their work. They have good plans. We just want to make sure that their plans is actualized by actions, and so the Liberian people can begin to see some relief in the drugs. And we all agree that drugs has now become an emergency, a national emergency that we need to solve. So, but we can assure the public that as chair of the National Security Committee, and with my strong membership, the issue of drugs will be taken care of. We intend to raise their budget. Considering their explanation, there's a lot of challenges. We might want to be talking to the Ministry of Finance not to give them not less than $8 to $10 million US for their operational budget, because, and not just giving them the money, we will follow them to make sure that the money is used for intended purpose in order for us to reduce or curtail what we call drugs in our country.
Okay. All right. So, question?
Okay, so let me use the opportunity now that the press is here to speak on an issue that's been circulating in the media in the last few weeks. Firstly, our main responsibility as committee on security to make sure that the country is stable through the police, the immigration. That's why our committee, the framers of our rules, have gathered that 50 members of the Liberian Senate are on this committee. So every county is represented on this committee. It's one of two committees that every county is represented on. So it's a very important committee. And we sit here as chair. We have the sole responsibility to make sure that our country can be peaceful. So anything that will bring about destabilization or that will infringe on the peace of our country, we take key note about it and provide our oversight to ensure that it doesn't happen. The issue of the private security being unionized. We haven't seen it before in this country. Private security started being active in this country, say in the 50s. But what we see today is that it's still an informal sector. It's not a formal sector yet. And the Ministry of Justice, through the Public Safety Department, is responsible to regulate private security activities. So the Ministry of Labor and the Ministry of Justice needs to have a conversation if private security will have to be unionized. Because it has a public safety issue. The private securities are hired and they are private institutions paying government taxes. They are hired by institutions to provide them security coverage, physical security coverage, private security coverage for their institutions. Now, as we said, we cannot allow private security institutions to form part of the union because their sole responsibility is to protect the institution for which they are being hired to protect. So we find it contradictory if they have to form union. And they are private security. And private security institutions should not be unionized because they form part of security. Just as the police cannot be unionized, just as the immigration cannot be unionized, just as the DEA, auto security, so is the private security, because they are all geared towards saving life and properties and protections. So with a new paradigm shift that the Ministry of Labor, through worker union, trying to privatize private security, we think it's not timely, and we will do everything possible to talking with the Ministry of Justice and talking with the Ministry of Labor, not to ensure that this happens, because if it happens, it's going to have a backlash. As we speak, we have a lot of concessions in Liberia. I've seen that the unions is trying to utilize only security as Lobita. So what's about B Mountain? What's about China Union? What's about other concessions? How do you utilize one private security at a particular institution in Liberia? They are all in concessions. So we see it as a contradiction. So we are going to stop that until conversations are had. Firstly, the private security is an informal sector. If we have to make it formal, it has to have a complete discussion about it. The private security owners will be very happy to see that their profile is being elevated. Clients are paying them better money, and their workers are getting better incentives. All private security heads will be happy for that. But as we sit today, as a government and as a country, the private security institutions are not formal. They're not standardized. So if you have one price here, you should have it on the other side. But at this time, that is not the case. All the private security are having their individual prices with their individual clients. So until we can standardize it and bring it as a formal sector, We think as a security expert that it's not feasible to do that. So if the Ministry of Labor and the worker union of Liberia wants to start to privatize or let's say unionize private security, there must be a holistic conversation with the Ministry of Justice, private sector, private, I mean, at the Ministry of Justice, the Public Safety Department, to see the pros and cons. And so I want to tell the public here that we, as chair of the National Security Committee, is not against it, but we think it's not timely. There must be conversation around it if it has to happen. But it has never happened in this country. If that's something the government wants to do, there must be a conversation around it. That is our stand as the chair. Because it has a reason we are getting into it and getting involved because it has a security implication. It says we have oversight over security. It is just prudent enough for us to intervene. And I've told the Minister of Justice about it. I've told the Minister of Labor about it, that if we have to do it, there must be a conversation around it.
What? Two questions.
Yes, sir.
Nelson from Spoon.
Yeah, thank you, Senator Nelson Collier from Spoon. I have two concerns or two questions. The first one has to do with the portion of the part of your presentation where you said there's going to be no business as usual. As chair on security, you're going to make sure, along with the entire Senate, that whoever is nominated to serve, especially at the DEA, is qualified. There will be no situation of people calling here and there. Have you had situations like that in the past? What triggered that particular aspect of your presentation?
Well, if not direct, as a committee, we have seen some level of interference with executive and other colleagues about considering certain nominees. And I want to be bold to the public now. It's not going to happen anymore. With the issue at DA and other security institutions, in our second year, in our 10th year as chair, we're going to be more vigorous and we're going to have more robust oversight. So yes, indeed, we have experienced some calls coming in on behalf of nominees.
From executive?
It could be from executive, it could be from even colleagues of legislature, it could be from the public. But this time around, we are saying we will not entertain such a call.
Will you disclose the names publicly?
Well, that is not relevant. We just telling you that we will not in any way accept any calls on behalf of any nominees. We will do the confirmation on stand and make sure that the rightful person is placed on those issues.
So my final question has to do with a statement that came out of your office today relative to the Lofa County, the saga at the Lofa County University. You are part of the board, and the board came up with a resolution that those indicted should maintain because they're innocent until proven guilty. But you distance yourself from it today.
But the release is clear. We had a board meeting, and we had a quorum. What was said in a board meeting, what was resoluted, is not what is in the resolution that came up. So I distanced myself.
Well, was there call for suspension of those officials?
There was no. It was.
The release itself.
It's
rather the two issues.
Yeah, the release is clear. The release is clear. We are very clear in the release.
Are you disappointed that the president has not suspended anybody from the Lofa County University?
No, the release is clear. The release is clear. It's clear. Our position has nothing to do with the executive. Our position had to do with the board decision.
Senator, my name is Klamoto. I'm a Liberian investigator. You oppose the unionizing of private securities. You kept talking about national security threats, but you've now outlined any of the security threats you're talking about. Secondly, you as chair on this defense committee, what's your concern about developing the Sergeant Eye unit of the Cabinet, particularly Liberian Senate, in terms of building a capacity? You have been engaged with the Liberian National Police and other state security actors. What's the plan, and where are we with developing the Sergeant Eye unit of the Liberian Senate?
So firstly, I have said I've come to the Senate with a vast experience in security. I've engaged my colleagues that the security of this Senate has to be elevated. The sergeant, the security around the Catholic police security. In fact, matter of fact, we are just about to conclude an act establishing the Liberia Catholic police. And that has been ongoing. We've elevated it, and we are just about to conclude on that particular document we'll get back. So the Sergeant Arm and every other unit under security in the Liberia Senate is being monitored, and we definitely we'll definitely support them so that their work can be elevated and bring by result to this Liberia Senate.
He said there are plans that you want to build a capacity.
Yes, there will be.
Nothing
Yes.
happened those
No. We're working on that. It's a process. We're definitely working on that. The capacity of the security, the Sergeant Arm, and every other department that has to do with security of Liberia Senate. And we are keenly looking at that, so in order for us to have some conversation with other stakeholders to make sure their capacity is being developed.
So we take the next question home.
Okay, my name is Barton Khan from Honorable Senator, as Chair of Security, have you been able to identify the problem at the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency?
Yeah, from the engagement, we found out that people who have served has taken side with this issue of these action agents. We were told that some of the head directors were giving preference to people who were action agents over those who were actually employed. We were told that the leaders were really working together because all of them have their own at the time arrangements with these action agents, and that was bringing confusions and misunderstanding, and just many more. Yes, there has been issue with the past leadership depending on those that were there, their own interest.
So the last question
Yes.
will come from analysts.
Senator, my name is Anthony J. from the Hanley newspaper. Your response to your statement, we talk about we will not allow influence from the executive or interference from the executive or other colleagues to confirm nominees. Anyone listening could assume that the Senate has been confirming nominees based on influence or interference from the executive or other senators. Do you want to confirm?
I just said to you that at some point in time when nominees come here, the committee has received some calls in favor of the nominees. That is clear. It's an open secret. But we are seeing this time around, whether we did accept the call or did not accept the call, we are seeing there were calls from the executive and even other lawmakers to us as a committee asking to ensure that those nominees are confirmed.
Have you confirmed people?
No, we haven't. But we are saying that this time around, we're not even going to encourage a call. That is our position.
So, Corey,